Well, here we are again. I've survived the drama. What a drama. It was a steep learning curve for me. There's an Indian saying in one of their songs, "Show not your diamonds in front of friends." And I think part of the trouble is I'm far too vulnerable, far too open, far too sharing for people I don't know. That's partly it. Partly it, of course, is consciousness. Now, when I titled my videos about 3 or 4 years ago, I called them Words from the Heart. And the words I speak usually are words from my heart. I try not to, especially when I'm putting a swear at home here. Words from the heart. That's a very important statement, because when an artist, a writer, an artist, a dancer, whatever, is expressing themselves from their heart, when they get upset, it's extremely difficult to overcome. Your heart gets bruised, and that's what I'm feeling at the moment. So I'm not very glamorous, I'm not very horrific, but I just thought I had to do this because today's been quite an important day. Well, the last 2 days have actually, and it's been a huge event for me, and I expect some of you too. I just wanted to say that thank you for that lovely lady that gave the comment. But then what happened, you see, there were 2 more that came from sources that are not always very kind. I don't know, you know who I'm talking about. And I couldn't understand why, because what I said was really from my heart. I wasn't a poor me, I wasn't complaining, I wasn't moaning, I wasn't telling a sad story. It was what I had been through and overcome. And it's important to say that, it's important for you to know that, it's important for me to know that, because I wouldn't come on, have moaning up poor old me what I've been, it's usually if I'm talking about something, I've overcome it. And I think I'm trying to pass on my experiences see, when you've overcome something, you've put light into it, you change it into something else. So I think when I've overcome something, there's a lot of light, a lot of experience, a lot of love and energy in it, and so when I'm relating it, that should come through to help somebody else in their particular search. I don't know. It's just I'm not sure it's a theory. I'm sure there are lots of people out there channeling. My spiritual master Maharaji, he's a great expert at it. He will spend an hour talking about nothing, and something very powerful going on. So there's an art to it, and I obviously haven't grasped it yet. I don't think I was a little bit over the top with the personal experiences. It's getting the balance right, isn't it? It's getting the balance right between sharing what you know, keeping it to a certain level of understanding. See, these videos, I don't know who watches them. I don't have any idea of the spiritual connections or where they're at. But I was really in a state yesterday thinking, what has gone wrong, what has happened? I like to understand so that I can improve or, share what I know or whatever. And the word came to me, consciousness. Now that is it, because we're all at different stages of consciousness, Some are just at the beginning, they're called neophytes, and some are grandmasters, all at different stages on the path of consciousness. So aware of what you know, what you don't know, how you are, or you're not. And most of us are kind of getting on quite well with it, really. I mean, I've achieved my ascension, so my consciousness is quite high, So I forget that. And I think sometimes when I'm talking to you, I forget. I can remember years ago, I love astrology, and I used to give talks on it, and I was really quite good at it. I am good at talking at things, and I forgot that people I'm talking to, they're probably WIs or clubs and things. I could say they were dozing off because they didn't know what on earth I was talking about. And that's a difficulty when you know something really well, to get it across to somebody who's very new to it. It's a challenge, and of course you don't know who you're talking to anyway. I assume that most of you have got fair good bit of consciousness, because I just feel like you wouldn't be listening otherwise, would you? But on the other hand, there are some that are quite new to all this and probably get quite what's she talking about, and some of you are very high in consciousness and agree with me, and it doesn't matter. It just that's the problem, I think, when I do come across with something quite profound, quite deep maybe, and some of it is because I've had to learn it. And if someone had said something to me, say 2 years ago, I'd have thought, what on earth are they talking about? I've got a friend, my computer friend, and I was explaining something to him the other day about the fifth dimension. He went very quiet on the phone. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. I thought, my goodness, this guy's supposed to be a spiritual man into all the stuff. He doesn't know what the fifth dimension is. But that's where she's at, you see. And there's no good me getting upset about it, is it? So I'm at the stage now of thinking I've got to reassess how I communicate, what subjects I'm talking about. I'm not sure to keep it just to me in my silly moments. Things happen to me, or to bring in some of the spiritual stuff, because I think that stuff. What were we talking? I can't remember now. I was obviously a bit over the top, and the people that responded haven't got a clue what I was talking about. And those are the people that really are sort of very. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying, they're still grasping concepts. We all are, but this is why I think we really shouldn't. And I think the Indians say, don't they, unless you are in someone else's moccasins, and that's true. But I think they didn't know. You see, they didn't realise and didn't know that I was telling a story of something I had gone through and achieved. They thought I was still in it and suffering. So there's a misconception there as well, isn't there? So a lot going on. So it's. I mean, I know I don't want to try. I'm just aware that I have not been aware enough of perhaps who I'm talking to, the subjects I'm talking about. I go in there, kind of gaily and without considering. So that's taught me a lot. I think it's also, I don't know if those people will listen again. I did put a note up and I thought I'd take it down. It's not going to be complaining. They're in a different place. And these people that are very religious, that are fanatics, that go by a thing called the Bible, which is a lovely book, and a lot of it's very true, I know it is, but also a lot of it is crap, as you know. And the Master Joshua said on one of his videos, he said that religion is dying out. There won't be a religion, not any religion, Christianity, Muslim, Jews, whatever. This is fading because the New Age is not going to have religion in it. It isn't, and of course he wasn't a Christian. He was a Jewish teacher, who was crusted. But it's all these things come into play when somebody is listening to somebody, and people that they were judging me. Well, I don't think they weren't. They were trying to help. I do know they were trying to help in their own consciousness, and they hadn't considered that I was way ahead of them, done their being that got the T-shirt, and I didn't need their whatever it was. It's a bit heavy going. Anyway, so that was that. But I want to also go into I had a gift. I think two gifts actually. One gift was, the fifth dimension. You know the fifth dimension. I'm sure we're all in it. Well, partly in it. I know I've been in it for at least 2 or 3 years. I complain about it because I read in one of my books. Oh, I've got it here, but it's It's a book by one of the masters. It's a lovely book, and he says in there, once you're in the fifth dimension, everything's fantastic. Your health improves, you have no pain, love, kindness, happiness, abundance. Where is it? Have I missed it? Did I blink? Because in 2 or 3 years I found this more difficult than ever before. Nothing like that has ever happened. And I also read somewhere that the fifth dimension, it has to be gone through in stages. You don't suddenly get in the fifth dimension. It would be too much. I think I mentioned it before. So it's a kind of a gradual thing. You go in it for a little bit and then you come out of it, and each time you go into it, you have more to deal with because you've got to be absolutely spot on perfect in order to get into the ascension, which is another story. But anyway, at the moment we're talking about the fifth dimension, and I know I've been in it for 2 or 3 years. I can remember when it happened and all that stuff, which is very beautiful. But I still couldn't understand where. I mean, I have a lot of pain. I've got great pain most of the time. I've got sciatica, I've got pulled muscles, I've got arthritis. I mean, you name it, I'm in pain most of the time, and I'm fed up with it. Been in pain for the last 4 or 5 years, really. So I'm looking forward to being in this fifth dimension where there is no pain. And I think this recent upset, of course, what they called a flare-up. Anyway, I think it was yesterday afternoon, I don't know when it was, and I was aware that I was in a most beautiful, peaceful place. One of my spirit guides took me. I was awake, I wasn't asleep, I wasn't meditating, I haven't got any pain. This is true. I thought, oh God, it feels wonderful to have no pain. It was just like, why, you know. Then I realised this is kind of a reassuring thing really, because I had asked for answers. Why am I not getting this, treatment of no pain? And it was about half an hour, and I thought, he's taken me into the fifth dimension. Oh, it was warm and cosy and beautiful and kind, and floating in this sort of love boat. It was really, really lovely. So I think that came along to kind of reassure me in a way that it does exist. It does. I've just got to be more patient. I've just got to be more patient. It does exist. I was going to reassure you as well, because I think there's so many teachings on this, and so many are contradictory. You get some of them also saying, oh, be excited, the new age, well, others say, no, hang on a minute, you've got a lot more work to do, So you're never really quite sure what to expect. So I think they took me into this place to say, look, it does actually happen, and it will happen. So I've got a little bit of hope that I will improve in time, if I might die first, that there's no pain then. So I think that's all really. I can't think of anything else to say on the subject, so it's perhaps long enough today, because I'm not very well, as you probably gathered. I'm a little bit worn out. So all in all, consciousness, it's the answer to all things. I mean, everything's got consciousness, some more than others, And it's just a hard thing. I think all my life I've been actually fairly high consciousness because of the beings I work with. Not physically so much, but people have never really understood me. I worry about it. I do worry because I do try to be clear. But I think it's not so much, it's the energy you're giving out, the energy, and people sometimes look at me and think, they don't know what I'm talking about. And sometimes very ordinary thing and ordinary people, and I do speak quickly as well. So I have to have a battle most of the time trying to make myself understood. It's getting easier because more and more people are more and more aware of all the stuff, and I think they get to know me and it's okay. But I think initially people are a little bit wary because of, I try not to talk about this stuff unless somebody asks, because you've got to be careful. I think I did read somewhere, if you give somebody too much light, too much information, it's not going to be good for them, it's going to hold them back. So there we go, darlings. I think that's cleared up a few things, and it has for me, but I've got to really be more, I don't know, self-assessing, is it? Observant and I just, why do I bother? Why? But I think it's learning, isn't it? It's learning all the time to be more clear, and to be able to relate, and learning all the time, and I think this is kind of a progression, in a way for me. So that's probably my gift I had for the fifth dimension, just to visit, to stay, for a little while in it, then come out again. So hopefully, dear ones, everything will be all right in the end. I probably turned the comments off because I was so upset. I thought I perhaps shouldn't have comments. Nobody writes anyway, or very rarely. So I'm going to go now then, alright, and have a cup of tea. Sainsbury's came today, so I've got some chocolate biscuits and some currant buns. See how difficult it is. Cut out sugar, cut out that. God, give me a currant bun and a cup of coffee. On that note, my sweet darlings, I am off. So take care of yourselves and thank you for listening.